Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu, and I'm back with another episode of Spoiler Sundays. So this is the time of the week where I take a look at all of the new news and announcements that we got over in Japan, and, well, talk about them. So, starting off with the news front, before we dive right into the last bit of spoilers for EX04, we have an announcement that they are going to be hosting Digimon Con 2023, and it's going to be live streamed over on YouTube on, well, Japan's February 12th, which means it's going to be our February 11th. So, you could check out the stream at the respective date and time that I've listed here. Then, as far as the topics of what's going to be talked about and announced at Digimon Con 2023, well, it's going to be probably very similar to last year, where we're going to have new toy announcements, we're going to have an update on the Digimon card game, and the results on the illustration competition. Similarly to last year, then we're going to have some more video game information. They're going to be talking a little bit about the anime. Apparently, there's going to be a manga in the works, and on top of that, they're going to have a live special performance. So it's just going to be an overall fun time. I am going to be streaming this over on my Twitch account, so feel free to follow me there if you just want to watch my initial reactions to Digimon Con 2023. But with all of the news out of the way, let's just dive right into the last little handful of spoilers that we got wrapping up EX04. So first up, we have Gold Vidramon. So Gold Vidramon is another level 4 armor Digimon in the color combinations of yellow and blue. He digivolves normally for 3 on top of a yellow Digimon, but alternatively, you could just digivolve him more efficiently for 2 on top of a Vmon. Then he has the Armor Purge ability, like a lot of Armor Digimon do, and he even has a nice when digivolving ability where one of the opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. Then if you control a blue or yellow Tamer or have a card with armor in its traits in your trash, then one of the opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less can't attack or block until the end of the opponent's next turn. So he has a nice little DP reduction built into him, and if that isn't good enough, then trying to stop the opponent's aggro or defense on their low-level Digimon is just a nice alternative way to be able to make sure that our card can not only try to help control the field and limit the damage possibility that the opponent has, but to be able to try to aggress as well, while being a nice armor Digimon that's fitting on colors with what Magnamon is already doing. So it's just a good armor Digimon to include or think about in the Armor Rush deck. Next up, we have Dark Maildramon. So Dark Maildramon, if anyone's unfamiliar with the lore, is the steed to Dark Knightmon, so it only makes sense that it's going to be interacting with the Dark Knightmon deck that seems to be wanting to be forming, or seems to be trying to update out of this set. So he is going to be a 2-color Digimon in the color combination of black and blue. He's a level 4 Digimon. Stats with DP isn't anything too special. He's a little bit expensive to digivolve into, considering he digivolves for 3 on top of a black level 3 or blue level 3. He has a pretty decent passive for our Dark Knightmon or our other Knightmons. So his passive ability is during your turn. This Digimon and all Digimon with a Knightmon or Knightsmon in their name can't be blocked. So it's just a good card to basically do what he does and fly over the opponent's defenses to allow us to be as aggressive as we possibly can. But I don't know exactly how good this card is, considering it's not a Blue Flare or a Twilight, so it doesn't necessarily have the greatest synergy, and it is a little bit on the expensive side to use, but having this tool available to them is still pretty decent and nice to think about. And then to be wrapping up the Alliance deck that seems to want to be formed out of the set, we have Terriermon Assistant. So unlike the old Terriermon Assistant, this Terriermon Assistant is actually treated as a Terriermon, so that way we could take advantage of all of our Terriermon-based synergies and the cards that are interacting more specifically with Terriermon utilizing this card. Then he's a really good card to sit passively and use for the Alliance mechanic, because we want to suspend him, because during your turn, when this Digimon is suspended by an effect, then one of your Digimon, doesn't even specify this Digimon or the Alliance Digimon. It's just one of your Digimon gets plus 4000 DP for the turn, so it's pretty good. Most of the time, you're going to use this on the Digimon that is going to be suspending this card due to the Alliance mechanic, just to make sure that it's going to have as much DP as it humanly possibly can, so that way its swings are as safe as it can be. Then it has a nice inheritable ability, again, to interact with the Alliance ability, where during your turn, when your Digimon is suspended due to the Alliance mechanic, then you may Digivolve this Digimon into a green 2-color Digimon from your hand by paying its Digivolution cost. When you would Digivolve by this effect, we get to reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. So this just is allowing us to try to climb our stages as cheaply and efficiently as we possibly can. I believe we've seen an inheritable ability similar to this on some of the other rookies or champions in the Alliance-based deck, but it's just trying to make it as easy and efficient for us to climb our stages as we possibly can, while being as aggressive and effective with our cards as we can possibly be. Next up, we have a new option in the form of a Digital Translator. So Digital Translator is a white 3-costed option card. It is also going to be treated as having plugin in its name, so that way it could be used with the Sakuyamon deck, and while we have a Tamer in play, then we also get to ignore the card's color requirements. So as long as just any Tamer is sitting on our field, we're just able to utilize this card. And this card is really good for a couple of decks more specifically, which is going to be the Sakuyamon deck, just because its main ability states that we get to select one of our level 6 Digimon, then we get to Digivolve the selected Digimon into a different named level 6 Digimon that includes the selected Digimon's name from our hand, and we get to ignore the Digivolution requirements without paying its Digivolution cost. So it's just a pretty interesting card to allow us to try to utilize form changes. So we could go from, let's just say, Sakuyamon to Sakuyamon Mako mode in this type of an instance, and in this type of a set, it's just allowing us to try to go from all of the new Digimon to all of the old Digimon that it wants to be interacting with. Then the security ability is actually what I'm most interested in out of the card, where we just get to return one Digimon card from our trash to our hand and add this card to our hand. So it's just adding some nice recyclability to our cards. And who knows how good this card is actually going to turn out to be for various other decks. And then the last card that we got spoiled is going to be Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. So you're looking at the beautiful alt art here, and this card is the last secret rare of the set, and as the last spoiler of the set, a pretty spicy and exciting card. So this card is going to be a level 7, so maybe this is alluding to the fact that all of the burst modes are also going to be level 7 as well. Then what this Digimon is doing more specifically is going to be a 2-colored Digimon compared to a white Digimon that a lot of other level 7s are. So it's going to be in the color combination of purple and yellow, which tends to have a lot of support already going for it. Then stat-wise, it's not going to do anything too special in terms of its DP and evolution cost, but we could cheaply Digivolve it for 4 on top of a Shine Greymon. So obviously it wants to be used with Shine Greymon, but the implementations of how we could utilize this card is still pretty wide, just because it's actually a 2-color Digimon. Then on top of that, it has a nice when Digivolving and on delete ability, where all of the opponent's Digimon get minus 5000 DP until the end of the opponent's turn. So this is a very powerful ability just because it is a lingering fog effect, so that minus 5000 DP could actually just stop and shut out some of the opponent's plays, and if we're able to trigger its when Digivolving and on delete ability all in one turn, that's just going to be a minus 10,000 debuff on the opponent's field, so it really is going to start limiting some of the actions that the opponent is able to take just because of those debuffs stacking and lingering, so it doesn't necessarily matter if they Digivolve on top of a Tamer, move their Digimon out of raising, hard play Digimon, they're all susceptible to this debuff, which is what's making the card really, really strong. Then, on top of that, he has a nice end of attack ability, so that way if we are actually able to Digivolve and swing in the same turn, this is the way the card wants us to try to line up the usage of its on-delete ability. So we get to delete this Digimon and one of the opponent's Digimon, which is very stereotypical for level 7s to be able to try to delete the opponent's Digimon as well when we go up into the card. And then we also get to recover one from our deck, so that's already pretty decent, not only just attacking into the opponent's security, but deleting the opponent's Digimon if our attack was successful, and applying this ginormous debuff to the opponent's field while recovering. And then on top of that, if we have a tamer in play, we get to hatch a Digi-Egg into an empty space in our raising area, so that way we could try to use the rest of our turn to be able to reload our raising area. So this is just a very powerful card for a lot of decks to think about utilizing. So obviously it wants to be played in that like Marcus or Shine Greymon style of deck, but I'm also thinking alternatively we could think about utilizing this with a Mastimon deck, just because that deck's already supporting 2 colors and has ways to actually be able to search this card out. But that's just one example of an alternative way to be able to utilize this card, and I think this card is going to be a very decent card to be played with in a wide variety of different decks, making him a very desirable card out of the set. But for the most part, that is it for EX04 spoilers. I'm sure they're going to be starting to reveal some of the spoilers from the reprint set in terms of the new cards, because that's going to be coming up next, and on top of that, they're going to be having BT13 come up shortly after. As far as what that means for the English release date, so far we do have some information as far as when certain sets are going to be released. So we already knew that BT11 is going to be released on February 17th, right before Nationals. Then we do have the starter deck at 14, which is going to be the advanced Beelzemon deck, is going to be released in March. So usually starter decks release with the next BT set, which is going to be BT12, releasing on April 28th, but they wanted to do a special purple-based event for that deck, which is why they decided to release it a little bit early compared to when they normally release starter decks. But then, as far as when we're actually going to be getting EX4 and all of the cards that you just saw, we are going to be getting that set on June 23rd. As of right now, release dates are obviously subject to change in case there's any delays or shifts in schedule. But as far as what we're getting in that is different from our set than the Japanese set, we are actually getting one exclusive alt art card, and then we also have the information as far as the box toppers go. We are going to be getting 6 box toppers, 4 of them are going to be of the 4 tamers that we saw, and then we are getting 2 options as box toppers in the form of Golden Beast Blade and Crimson Dragon Blast, and then the last option is going to be Digital Translator. So it's going to be a pretty interesting and exciting set. But we don't necessarily know any other release dates past the English version of EX4 at this time. So that's all I really have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and down in the description below are a couple of different ways you could support me and the channel. So I do have a TCG Player affiliate link, so when you use that link to buy cards off of TCG Player, then some of that money will go to supporting me and the channel. I also do make and sell playmats over on Overcard Gamers on Facebook, so when you buy a playmat with my design, then some of that money will also go to help supporting me and the channel. And on top of all of that, I do have a Twitch account over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu, so giving me a follow and a subscription also helps support me there, and I do play Digimon on top of various other games on that platform as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.